The Mighty Miss Malone, Chapter 10. A Taste for Perch. Most of the time, I wake up in bits and pieces. First, my legs wake up and stretch out as far as they can, then my toes wiggle to make sure they're there. Next, my arms and fingers do the same thing, then I yawn, stretch, and open my eyes. There was something different about the second day of summer vacation. I sat straight up in bed and felt like I'd been wide awake for hours. I wasn't scared, I just knew something was different. I couldn't tell if it was late at night or early in the morning, but something about the way shadows were laying around the room let me know this wasn't a time that I was usually awake. I heard bumpety sounds coming from downstairs. I undid the straps on my new shoes and went to see who was up. Father was humming in boiling water. Deza, was I being that loud? He gave me a hug and kiss. I don't think so, Father. I was just awake for no reason. What time is it? Mother must have followed right behind me. She was squeezing her house coat shut in front of her. It's a little before 4 o'clock, Deza, and you need to get back to in bed. And so does your hard-headed daddy. Father hugged Mother. Morning, Peg. I said, why are we all up so early? Father laughed. Well, Dard Wat, I have a taste for perch. Perch? Yep, I'm going fishing with a couple of the guys I used to work with. Tonight you'll be eating the fruit of Lake Michigan. Mother said, Lake Michigan? I thought you were going down the river. Father said, Steel lungs treating me, Hank and Carlos to a fishing trip on the lake. Mother near shouted, What? You didn't say anything about going out on that lake. Well, that's where the perch are, Mrs. Malone. There are perch in the river, too. True, but Steel Lung knows a spot where they're practically jumping into the boat. Roscoe Malone, I know you are not seriously thinking of going out on that lake in a boat. Peg my foot. You never said anything about a boat. Coming from a landlocked place like Flint, you can't even dream what these Great Lakes are capable of. Storms on Lake Michigan have sunk ships that were 6 city blocks long. Father gasped. Really? He nudged me in the side and said, It's a good thing we're not going out in anything that big. Steel Lung's rowboat is only about 12 feet long. I had to laugh. He nudged Mother, too. She didn't laugh or smile at all, so I wiped mine off my face. Father said Steel Lung promised we're staying right in sight of the shore. He's even got life preservers. All the steam had gone out of Mother. I don't like this one bit. Father hugged her and Mother dodged out of the way of his kiss. Mother gave him a look. Let me put something together for your lunch. Before she could even get a loaf out of the bread box, there was a soft tap at the front door. Father kissed me and Mother on the cheek and said, That's Steel Lung. Gotta go. Mr. Steele Lung Henderson was the only black man in Gary who kept a job with the company year round. There were only 2 jobs that Negro or Mexican men could have in the steel mill. One was janitor and the other was worse. Once a month, the furnaces at the steel mill would have to be repaired on the inside, but the bosses couldn't let the furnaces cool all the way down because it took too much time for them to heat back up again. That was the only time people who weren't white got to do regular work. They'd have to go into the hot furnace and pull out the bricks that had been cracked and damaged by the heat. Then they'd put new ones in. Father said the bosses put wood planks on the floor of the furnace so your toes wouldn't get burned, but lots of times the planks themselves would get so hot that they'd catch a fire. The men would stay in the furnace pulling and replacing bricks as long as they could before the heat made them so woozy that they were about to pass out. Mr. Steel Lung got his name because he could stay in the furnace longer than anyone else. Me and Mother followed Father into the living room to say hello to him. The smell of his work boots made me remember when Father used to do that furnace job. He did it for 3 months, and I was so happy when they finally said he'd have to get laid off because his asthma meant he couldn't stay in the furnace very long. That meant a lot less money coming in, but once Father got laid off, his breathing started getting better and better. Mother and Father's bedroom is right next to mine upstairs, and the walls are so thin that I used to have to pull the pillow right over my ears when he'd cough and try to get the phlegm out of his chest all night long. That stopped as soon as he quit going into that hot furnace. Mr. Steel Lung promised to bring Father back in one piece. We followed him out onto the porch. It was so cold that I huddled into Mother's house coat. It was so cold that smoke was coming out from their mouths when they talked. Father and Mr. Steel Lung slammed the doors of the old pickup truck, and it started with a cough and a roar. Father waved a big cloud of smoke waved and a big cloud of smoke came out of the rear of the truck. Mother said, "Deza, run in and get your daddy his coat, quick," she hollered at the truck. "Roscoe, wait." I ran to the closet, but by the time I got back, all I could see were the two round red tail lights of the truck getting smaller and smaller going down Wilbur Place, leaving a trail of smoke. The truck made that grindy, cracky sound when Mr. Steel Lung shifted gears and slowed down to turn the corner on Fifth. Then they were gone. Mother said, "Go back to bed, sweetheart." I walked upstairs and got into bed to finish my last good night of sleep for a long, long time.